Hare Krishna, Sanbanani, Dimalang, Molweni. Oh, Jai Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Sanbanani. Thank you all for joining us this evening for another Wusa Wisdom reading. My name is Nomusa and I'll be your host for today. I'd like to thank all the people who read before me just a couple of days ago. We had yesterday Kulu read. I think Kulu needs to have his own slot or like a podcast where he does his own thing because we can't have such talent wasted. It needs to go somewhere and just be channeled somewhere. I'm not saying it's going wasted. I don't know what he does, but definitely needs to have his own slot every single day somewhere here on Musa. We also had Khosi Prabhu who read for us last week, Wednesday. What a wonderful reading. Great realizations. It was so beautiful. And today I'll be sharing my reading from the third mantra of the Sri Sapanisad. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to all the Wusa platforms on Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't catched the readings that I'm talking about, the introduction, the invocation, and the first and second mantras of the Sri Sapanisad, please do so on YouTube, Wusa 108, as well as on Facebook at Wusa 108. Also, go to our website, www.wusa.online, to check out all our activities and updates that are happening at Wusa. So we're about to begin. We're going to start with our invocation. I hope that everyone's ready and I hope that everyone's had a good week. It's been a very exciting past couple of weeks and it's going to get only more exciting with the readings. So let's get into it. It's also the last 5 days. Well, we're in the last 5 days of Kartik, so it's going to be really amazing. So we can start with our magical invocation just to make sure that the ether is cleared. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alrighty, so third mantra of the Sri Sapanisad. I mentioned last week that you can get the Sri Sapanisad at Wusa House. So you can visit again www.wusa.online or call anyone from the Wusa House. You can contact Atmatat Prabhu or Savya Sachi Prabhu. It looks like this. There are different covers, different variations. We are going this way. And you can get yourself a copy. So, third mantra. Asurya Nama Te Loka. Anandana Demsa Savrata. Demste Pritaya Bigya Acha Nati. Ya Cha Atma Hono Jana. Asurya, meant for the Asuras. Nama, famous by the name. De, those. Loka, planet. Anandane, by ignorance. Tamase, by darkness. Avrati, covered. Dan, those planets. De, they. Prayati, after death. Abhagyachanati, enter into. Ye, anyone. Ke, everyone. Cha, and. Atma Hanaya, the killer of the soul. Jana, the person. The killer, the translation by His grace. His divine grace. Again. His divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planet known as the world of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. Purport. Human life is distinguished from animal life due to its very heavy responsibilities. Those who are cognizant of those responsibilities and who work in that spirit are called Surya, godly persons. And those who are neglectful of these responsibilities or who have no information of them are called Asura. demons. Throughout the universes, there are only these two types of human beings. The Rigveda is stated, in the Rigveda it is stated that the Suryas always aim at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and act accordingly. Their ways are as illuminated as the path of the sun. Interesting. Their ways are as illuminated as the path of the sun. So those who are intelligent know where they are going, or at least have some direction, some plan, or have an aim. So they have some goal that they've set for themselves and are headed towards that. So this is also for us that we should be more intelligent, or try at least to have some sort of goal and aim for where we're going, some sort of direction. Intelligent human beings must always remember that the soul obtains a human form of life after evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. The material world is sometimes compared to an ocean, and the human body is compared to a solid boat designed especially to cross this ocean. The Vedic scriptures and the acharyas, the saintly teachers, are compared to expert boatmen, and the facilitators of the human body are compared to the favorable breeze that help the boat ply smoothly through to the desired destination. Keep association close, as you can hear. The acharyas are like the expert boatmen, so keep them close. Keep the books close, keep reading. With all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize his life. Can I start that afresh? If with all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize his life for the self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of the soul. Sri Isopanisad warns in clear terms that the killer of the soul is destined to enter into the darkest regions of ignorance and suffer perpetually. There are swines, dogs, camels, asses, etc., whose economic necessities are just as important to them as ours are to us. But their economic problems of those animals are solved only under the necessity of unpleasant conditions. The human being, given all the facilities for comfortable life by the laws of nature, because the human form of life is more important and valuable than animal life. Why is man given a better life than that of the swine and other animals? Why is a highly placed government servant given better facilities than those of ordinary clerks? The answer is that a highly placed officer has to discharge duties of a high nature. Similarly, the duties of human beings have to perform Similarly, the duties human beings have to perform are higher than those of animals, who are always engaged in simply feeding their hungry stomachs. Yet the modern soul-killer civilization has only increased the problems of the hungry stomach. When we approach all polished animals in this form of the modern civilized man and ask him to take interest in self-realization, he will say that he simply wants to work to satisfy his stomach, and that there is no need for self-realization for a hungry man. We've heard that a lot, a lot. The law of nature, the laws of nature are so cruel, however, that despite his denunciation of the needs of self-realization, his eagerness to work hard to fill his stomach, he is always threatened by unemployment. We are, we are given this human form of life not to work hard, like asses, swines, dogs, but to obtain highest perfection of life. If we do not care for self-realization, the laws of nature force us to work very hard, even though we may not want to do so. Human beings in this age have been forced to work hard like the asses and the bulldogs and bullocks that pull carts. Some of the regions are the Suryas, where the Suryas are sent to work, are revealed in the mantras of the Isopanisad. If a man fails to discharge his duty as a human being, he is forced to transmigrate to the Asurya planets and take birth in a degraded species of life, to work hard in ignorance and in darkness. In the Bhagavad Gita 16:14, 41 to 43, 6:41 to 43, it is stated that man who enters upon the path of self-realization but does not complete the process despite having sincerely tried to realize his relationship with God is given a chance to appear in a family of Suchis or Srimats. Sorry. The word of Suchi indicates the spiritually advanced Brahmana, and Srimat indicates the Vaishyas, a member of the mercantile community. So the person who fails to achieve self-realization is given a better chance in his next life due to his sincere efforts in this life. If even a fallen candidate is given a chance to take birth in a respectable and noble family, one can hardly imagine the state of one who has achieved success. Hmm. By simply, oh, where am I? By simply, hmm, sorry, by simply attempting to realize God, one is guaranteed birth in a wealthy and aristocratic family. But those who do not even make an attempt, who want to be covered by illusion, who are too materialistic and too attached by material enjoyment, must enter the dark regions of hell. As confirmed throughout the Vedic literature, such materialistic Asuryas sometimes make a show of religion, but their ultimate aim is materialistic prosperity. The Bhagavad Gita 16:17 to 18 rebukes such men by calling them Atma Sambhuvatas, meaning that they are considered greatly great only only on the strength of the description and empowered by the boats of ignorance and by their own materialistic wealth. Such a series devoid of self-realization and knowledge is Varayana, Varsha. The Lord's universal propo- propo- proprietorship are certain to enter into the darkest regions. The conclusion is that human beings are meant not. Ooh, let me start again. The conclusion is that human beings, we are meant not simply for solving economic problems, only on the torturing platform, but for solving all problems of materialistic life into which we have been placed by the laws of nature. Hmm. Interesting for the time that we are in, where we see so many things are dependent so much on materialism and trying to, fulfill our economic responsibilities. There's so many people who are struggling with issues of money and where they need to be and what they need to do, and are completely forgetful or ignorant, like the book says, of their spirituality. And I've heard it so many times where I can't pray on an empty stomach, or I can't, be self realized on an empty stomach. And the book is saying that you definitely can. And in fact, if that's your mentality, then you'll always have an empty stomach. But even worse, you'll find yourself in a very, very deplorable position later on in life, even in the next life. So why not try with sincerity to cross over the the ocean into a very, very beautiful place described in the Vedas? Go back to Godhead. It is said that the acharyas are like expert boatmen who are giving you the opportunity to do that. They are there to just guide you through. So I think we can go on to four. I'm not sure if we're going to save that for someone else. If not, then we can just end it here for today and catch us tomorrow. So I will see with what appears on the screen. If not, I'll just continue talking or continue to read. So okay, I think then we're done for today. I'll wait for some questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box on Facebook and in the comment section on YouTube, and I'll wait for you to ask some any questions. If you have questions that are very detailed, I know for the last 2 weeks we've been so busy that Sabyasachi Prabhu has not had a chance to have his session of Ask a Monk. But I think that this Saturday, without a doubt, there will be an Ask a Monk session. So if you have any questions, wait for the Ask a Monk session on Saturday with His Grace Sabyasachi Prabhu, and he'll be ready to answer those questions for you. Speaking about Sabyasachi Prabhu, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to you, Prabhu. I'm wishing you all the very best for the year ahead. If you have not wished Sabyasachi Prabhu a happy birthday, shame on you. Firstly, shame on you. You can still wish him a happy birthday, chant an extra round, do something. If you want to be really, really, really special and be memorable for Sabyasachi's birthday, you can go to www.wusa.online and click on the wish list. So Wusa still has a few things that have not been ticked off the wish list, and you can make your donation there. Don't be stingy, just donate. Come on. We've got a question or comment from 108live.radio. But what is the weaponized hunger in the construct where the most of us are directly accordingly as consumers without restrictions? What of weaponized hunger in the construct where the most of us are directly accordingly? Okay. My personal opinion is that I think it's just to keep us going. It's to keep us in the matrix. It is definitely weaponized hunger, and we are consumers. Sometimes the hunger is not necessarily hunger that is like a burning hunger, but more so one that is a little lustful. And I'm not saying that to not be mindful of people who are definitely seeing themselves in a state of, not being able to provide any food for themselves or for their family, because we do live in a world where we do have lots of people who are displaced, who are homeless and don't have food. And it is a situation that is created by our current political and social climate, even our economic climate. It could be changed because we know that the top 1% have the ability to do something about food insecurity in the world. Food insecurity is something that threatens the livelihoods of so many people. But I think some of the biggest insecurities have to do with the fact that even with that, we don't have knowledge. I think that's the one thing that we really look at, that insecurity of food and all these things that are named as like great insecurities by a big organizations such as the UN, the AU, and others are focused on very materialistic things and trying to put a plaster or a band-aid solution for something that is a really deep wound within society. The inequalities within the society that we live in are so great that you can't just like be giving donations all the time. We know that aid has done so much harm to many third world countries across the world, and in fact have acted as a perpetual colonializer or a colonializer, yes, a colonial system just through the aid, which has crippled so many things. I just know the example of Haiti. I know many examples, but I think the most prominent example, and one that is like in modern times that we can remember, is after the Haitian earthquake in 2000 and something, very recent. There've been many, but that very big earthquake that happened, and many celebrities were flown out to try and help people in Haiti, and so much money was spent in trying to accommodate these celebrities and these well-wishers and these do-gooders, then in trying to actually reestablish the economy and the society and the infrastructure of Haiti. Worse off, what had happened is that the US government had started donating, and farmers have started donating rice to Haiti. And Haiti had a really good rice farming economy and culture. And that was destroyed by the fact that they were being aided by the rice. So that couldn't pick up. So if you're not in control of what you do, other people are going to control you, and you might just find yourself in a place that is worse than you were before being recolonized. But I come back to the point that it's education that is lacking, or knowledge that is lacking. I think when you take that away from people, you take away a lot. So if you can reintroduce some form of education, um, even the weaponization of hunger could be seen, could be bypassed by so many people and so many communities, because just a little bit of land can go a long way. And we're seeing that farming is no longer just on the land. We've had people who are doing rooftop farming, who are doing all sorts of farming in very different places, and are utilizing the little amount of space that they have for food. So I'm not sure if I answered the question. I think I went on a little bit of a tangent, but I do think that food insecurity and the weaponized hunger and even consumerism has a lot to do with the fact that we're living in a society that does not facilitate knowledge consumption. We are not ready to consume enough knowledge, especially knowledge about ourselves and knowledge about our livelihoods and our well being, that we're just ready to be given whatever we want. Everything is available when it's on the internet, but I don't know how much of it is really for the soul. So that's my response. I don't know. I think Sabyasachi will give a more detailed answer later on. I've got another question from Kulupela Prabhu. What are your thoughts about today's mantra? Wonderful reading. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Um, it speaks a lot to what's happening today. I think those are my thoughts. That there's so much that goes on, especially economically, that we're so fixated on that. I don't think that there's been a time, maybe there has, because I haven't even lived that long, where people have been so fixated on their economic well being. Sure, the pandemic has had a major hit on many people, and even if it hasn't had a direct hit, indirectly it has affected so many people, and especially economically and financially, and how we can make, ends meet as families, as people, even as devotees. There are many people who are struggling out there. So I think it speaks to that. And in that, it's like we can really just focus on our economic well-being, which we see that even the animals have economic well-being, have economic problems of their own, but they're not too fixated on that, whereas we are. We need to, I think, somehow find a balance in our economic well-being and our spiritual well-being. It sounds very privileged, I must say. Even saying it just feels very wrong, because we do understand that, food, we need food to survive. We need, these things that are necessities: a roof over your head, water, and all of those things to survive. And these things in today's age, especially if you're living in a city, you can't just get for free. You need to get a job or get some form of money to get them. But I think the fact that we are meditating on money and having so many mantras and manifestations just about money as opposed to our own growth is to show where we are as people, as a community, as a nation, with regards to our spiritual and emotional, psychological well being. I think we're lacking a lot there, and a lot of people are making a killing in our lack. A lot of people are making a lot of money from the fact that we're just sitting, waiting, wanting, sabawelling all the time for things that are so far away and not necessarily needs but wants, because we live in a culture that is very consumeristic, very materialistic, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. We've got another question a comment from Itu Mataji, and she says, "Happy birthday, Sabyasachi Prabhu. Hip hip hooray!" Itu, go to House of Wusa at www.wusa.online and go to the wish list and see what you can tick off the wish list. And I think that will make Sabyasachi Prabhu very, very happy. Very happy. So, yeah, that's my comment. Last week, ESCOM left me like in a very funny state. I look like a meme. So shame on them. Shame on them. But we expected it. What can we say? I think if we have no more questions, it is it for me today. from me today. English has not been kind to me namhlanje. I think I should just close off ngezulu ngoba wow, siyangigila isilungu namhlanje. I don't know why. But ke, it is what it is. Ngithanda ukuvalelisa kuni nonke, siyabonga kakhulu ngokuthi nisixhase nihlale nikhona la eHouse of Vusa. eWusa House kukhona yonke into. Uma ufuna ukuza for i-Kirtan, uma ufuna ukuza futhi nje uzoxoxa about iy'ncwadi lezi esizifundayo, uzokhuluma ngoKrishna, nezinto ey'ningi zisasekhona lezo zinto lezo. Ningasabi, iWusa iyawonke umuntu. Ungazibandlululi wena ngokwakho uthi kunosibanibani kunosibanibani, angizwani nosibanibani. iWusa yawonke umuntu. So izani ngobuningi benu, isikakhulukazi ngama-Friday, khona ama-events, khona ama-Kirtan amnandi ukufa, amnandi nandi nandi. Nize nabangani benu. So khona nathi ukuthi sibhiyoze, sidansele uKrishna, nathi sazi ukuthi we've got a way we are our focus is towards the lotus feet of Vishnu, njengoba kubhaliwe lana ku-mantra 3 lapho siqale khona. Ngithanda nje ukunivalelisa nonke ngithi nibe nobusuku obuhle, nibe neviki elihle. Sonibona futhi ngekuzayo next week Tuesday, ngelesibili next week soba yini futhi. Kusasa ngiyacabanga ukuthi kungaba u-Itu Davy ofundayo noma uKhosi Prabhu, angikho sure, anginaso isiqiniseko saloko. Kodwa from me, Hare Krishna, good night, nilaleni kahle.